I really love to work on this backwards movement, getting the players to be able to just, work their platforms, their shoulders, and get them to a position that will really work for our setters. What I love about is really the ability of our players to get into a gym together, even when we're not there, and work on these various moves in order to get, their fundamentals down, to understand, how do we want to cushion, how do we want to move, and get those reps in when they're not with coaches. Here you'll see Mackenzie working, to get Paige into the correct positions and really working on different fundamentals. And now she's working that other angle, because balls go to your right, balls go to your left. Obviously, the dropping of your shoulders will vary based on where the serve is and your ability to move in either direction. Now we've moved Paige up a little bit. We've moved her up a little bit to kind of get that right space and work on the move that we're trying to get her feet to do.
When we talk about switching it to float, we go back to the menu, hit the float button, and we can control the speed. We found anywhere between 12 and 13 is good for a float serve, kind of at our level. We can lower the height of the machine to make it more realistic for a float serve coming flat across the net. And then all we have to do is change the angle of this, because that would give it a lot of height. So as long as these are shooting straight across the net, we should be good to go.
So working a little bit on really communication for people that are working together to kind of get a certain seam. And again, this is something they can do with you in the gym or not with you in the gym. And that you start to get that movement where both people are kind of like working together, calling out the ball, making sure that the communication is good so that we can work on that. This gives them all those reps, when coaches are in the gym or not. Whether you don't have enough assistant coaches, you can use this and just have a manager pretty much here, looking at what it is you're trying to do. I love working this communication pattern. People don't need to be super loud or aggressive. They just need to have this relationship that they're building with each other to make sure that these reads and these calls are early enough to just claim the space. Sometimes people call so late that's where the conflict arises. I know that our passers are good enough, or they can be, if their eyes get on the ball as soon as they see it out of the server's hands, and make that move. There's about a couple feet between these two. They certainly, either one can pass the ball, but who is going to be the one that gets in front of it, has good platform work, and is on it? This communication and these relationships are so important when we're trying to play high-level volleyball and working your passers together. So happy to have this opportunity for our players to work on this, especially when I'm not in the gym and or when I don't have another arm from an assistant. All right, a lot of players, want to just really work on how they're digging, their ready position. Are they low enough? Are they under the ball to pop it up into the air? And we can create that situation where they just get lots of reps, again, whether we're here or not. How much do we need to cushion that ball and take a little off of it? How much do we need to add? What can we do with our platform, and how fast do we need to get that platform to target? Now Mackenzie in this case is working to get it to the libero. She's putting it in the middle of the court, which we like our digs to go there. So she's doing a really nice job of centering that ball and putting it in the right place. Now, as she's got a rhythm to this, we'll move her up and we're going to work on base. Now, I'm going to have to make sure that my timing is right so that I'm putting the ball in once she gets back there and I don't have too big of a weight between, but we're trying to pull those things together so that we have quick base movement to back and then get that ball to her. So she gets back, I put the ball down, and she digs. Base, back, and dig. Base, back, and dig. Okay, she goes base, she gets back, and then I throw the ball in. Now this thing comes pretty hot, so it's, you can adjust again how fast this ball is coming and what we can do with it. Now, we want to add some variability to this, so I'm going to start you back first, Mackenzie. And I can put the ball in, or I can go up above this machine, which would be like a blocker in the game. She's got to read. We have a lot of cheaters around here, that want to get up there. They're coming early when we know we're working on tipping or hitting. So what she's going to be watching is to see what am I doing. So I'm either going to feed it in here or I'm going to tip it over the blocker, and she's going to have to get her eyes on which it is in each case. So here we go. Ready? And I like to think that, you know, with this, it kind of simulates our blocker, and I can do that and then drop it down and keep her back. Okay, she's got to read, she's got to see, and it's hard behind the machine. Ball. Nice dig. Now we're going to do it where she has to come from her base, and really she has to get back there, and I have to go here and make sure that she's back. She doesn't know what's happening. My ball is neutral. Put it back there. She digs. The cross-court digging, we'll work on the cross-court as well. I'm trying to really get those moves in there. So subtly, I can move this machine just a smidge to the right or to the left and work on whatever move it is that, you know, that I would like. So here I'm working her to her right, making sure that ranges. And I could also move it a little bit sharper, like see how that move is going to get it to her. And again, they can't really see me moving this little bit and making those adjustments and getting them to work on all of those digs. You see me moving. And honestly, we want our players to read as much as possible, so as I adjust small adjustments, they're able to work on those things. I'm going to ask Spencer to get back there as well. And we're going to work on the seam. And the seam, I can go deep. I can fluctuate this by moving it a little bit deeper or shorter, and work on the relationship that we might want for these two players. And again, calling it early, working on this and calling it early, and seeing what we need to do. And that's a position that's kind of tough. So the deep digger and the short digger. Ready? Go. And the clear early communication by players, it's gonna be fast. They have to really work together to kind of cover space. Okay, that's good, guys. That's a good one. So now I'm working on keeping my left back defender, understanding that they want to get to the center of the court. I'm going to be working on that and getting him to get eyes on this. He's looking outside the block, and then he's knowing that he's got any off speed in there. And then I can also go at Mackenzie with that same type of situation. So as I go, they get ready, and then we work to cover the space. Now the other thing I add to it is with my off speed, I can go hit to Mackenzie. I can make sure that, you know, he's left back. I have to also make sure she can get the balls that are hers. And so we'll work on ranging some of these off speeds. And so we basically adjust, making sure that they're being honest and keeping them in good places. Adjusting it as well, getting Spencer now to dig the ball. So keeping our players honest, getting them to read the situation and not just go here. That was too easy. That was way easy. And I'm hitting now at Spence, but he also has to look at those and working on the synergy between players. Really important to work on our 5 and 5s, and I'm adjusting this a little bit down for Mackenzie. And then when I go cross court to Spencer, I am getting it a little bit deeper. Ooh, that was a little tough. When I go to Spencer, I get a little deeper and work on Mackenzie, you know, getting to that ball. But we're really working at quality of dig here and the quality of our second ball, a non-setter ball, a setter ball, whatever, but putting up a nice out-of-system situation for our people. As we start to gain control here, we're going to add Paige here in, and she'll be the hitter that's, you know, coming inside. We'll have her at the net a little bit inside. You know, she'll be a blocker. She comes in, and we'll alternate that as well, and then make sure that we get to that case. So I'm going to start here down the line, and then Spencer's back setting, and then Paige will go and attack that ball, and then you'll attack that ball. Yep. Working on our our players transitioning and working on all of those things. So she sees the ball, she's going to be in defensive position. Spencer's getting the ball, deep ball, and we have to adjust to everything that comes our way. And this is really important that that person, your libero, in this case, Spencer's not our libero, but in this, we would see this and they would really be working on that synergy between the hitter and the libero, who then will put up the kind of ball that those hitters need for this, when the setter is digging balls. Then Paige comes in and is able to hit those balls. Working transition is very important. Working on her getting off the net, getting deeper than the set, coming in and fast. If you could just high and hang it, high and hang, yeah, out of system-ish. And keep yours at the 10 if you can, 10 feet, just like out of system a little bit, So here it is, she's gonna have to adjust, he's gonna have to put up a good ball and get Paige to be able to get back behind the ball, watch the flight of the ball, and then get into attack. Beautiful, that was great.
So we're going to use the machine to replicate out of system setting for Paige so she can practice a little bit of a transition move. This is probably the most specific adjustments that need to be made. So we have to relock the wheel so it doesn't move. There is a set feature on here. It's very similar to the float feature, but it's incredibly slow. And what that gives us is a good high out of system set, so we can practice our hitters hitting 5 and 5. It has to be dropped a little bit from the attacking or the serving position, only so that it can get that nice high float contact on it with that good arc. This might actually be a little fast, but so this one has to be aimed pretty high so it gets that nice up and down position.
I like that one. Like that. That's a good one.
Test.
That's really nice. I like that. We can also work on our 5 and 5s and our blockers' moves and see, we're working across the net as Spencer's trying to get a good lock on where Paige is going. They're working against each other, and we have a nice hanging ball that we know we're getting the work on what we want instead of people that are maybe not setting that ball the way you want it to be. Take one more. Yep. Getting off the net, coming in, seeing the blocker, and using the blocker to her advantage. These little pieces are so important within the game. What are you doing when the ball is not in your hands? And are you putting yourself in the correct position to get there? Good job, Spence. And our blocker right now, we're looking at him trying to see her, find the hitter, find what they're doing. And this is a game of cat and mouse, and we're looking at some pretty great shots.
We also have the opportunity to do in-system setting with this machine. It takes a little bit more precise setup and maybe a couple more test reps, only so that we can make sure we can get the apex of the tempo correct. You leave the machine on the same setting, in that setting category. The speed will have to get adjusted and the distance will have to get adjusted depending on your team and what system you guys are running. Give me a little arc here, and we might have to slow it down because we are in system, even though the ball will come out quite fast. So we are looking to find that nice go ball that lands right across the top of the tape for Paige to pick it off. The speed is heavily dependent on how far the ball goes. The arc is what gives it that nice float. Like, that's a pretty good go ball. If I were to back up the machine a little bit, it would give us a little bit more inside ball. Is that too wide? Do you want to stand off for me so you can see? Okay. So we just have to push everything back because I think that the speed and the tempo is correct. Okay. You want to see it one more time? You're sure? If you can pick it off, okay. How would you like to do tempo? I'll say ball and then I'll put it in. ball would be the setter's hands because it's coming out. So as your first step, it would be ball, and then I'm gonna go in. Ball. You see it? It's a little fast. I can slow it down if you need. Ball. Ball.